Today's lesson is on order of operations and evaluating expressions. In order to do order of operations, if you remember the acronym PEMDAS, P stands for parentheses, E stands for exponents, M stands for multiplication, D stands for division, A stands for addition, and S stands for subtraction. This is the order in which you would do your operations. Multiplication and division, you want to make sure that you work from left to right. So just because multiplication comes first in PEMDAS doesn't mean multiplication is done first. If division comes first, then you do that. And the same thing works with addition and subtraction. Okay, if we look at this problem right here, the first thing you look for are parentheses. Since there are none, then you look for exponents. You have an exponent of a 2 right here. So you're going to do 2 squared first. 2 squared is 4. So you're going to rewrite this expression as 16 minus 8 divided by 4 plus 14. Okay, then you took care of exponents, so now it's either multiplication or division. There is no multiplication, there is division, so 8 divided by 4 is 2. So 16 minus 2 plus 14. Now division is gone, and all you are left with is addition and subtraction. Again, you move from left to right, so since the subtraction is first, 16 minus 2 is 14. Okay, 14 plus 14 is 28. Okay, we'll come down here to A. Now, you do look for parentheses first, so I immediately go to the 11. But the parentheses part of the order of operations means that if you have parentheses and you have something inside of the parentheses that you can do, then you do that first. Since the 11 is the only thing in parentheses and there's nothing else in there that you can actually carry out and simplify, then that doesn't really count as a parenthesis. That's actually just 7 times 11, so that's multiplication. So there are no parentheses, you go to exponents. You have an exponent of a 2, so you can do 8 squared first, which is 64. Okay, so you've got 20 minus 7 plus 64 minus 7 times 11. Then you go to either multiplication or division. You've got multiplication right here, which is 7 times 11, so you do that next. So you got 20 minus 7 plus 64 minus 77. Now you're only left with addition and subtraction. Subtraction comes first, so that's 13 plus 64 minus 77. Then it's addition, 13 plus 64 is 77, minus 77, and then you're left with 0. I am going to show you how you can do this in the calculator. So you're going to plug it in just like you see it here. 20 minus 7 plus 8. To get a squared button, you hit the x squared button right here, and that will raise it to the power of 2, and then minus 7 times 11. If you hit enter, that will give you 0, too. Alright, B. So the first thing, we have parentheses. Actually, here we have 2 sets of parentheses. You have the parentheses here, and then you have these second set of parentheses, which are now in the shape of brackets, so you know they're a different group of parentheses. So you look at the first one, and then you work your way out. Since there is something to do inside of this parentheses, 2 plus 3, that's 5. So you can rewrite this instead of 2 plus 3 as 5 there. Okay, now that parenthesis is done because there's nothing else that you can do inside of that parenthesis. So now you look at the brackets, the second set. Okay, and you do everything that you can in there. So you have 32 minus 5 squared in there. You have an exponent. 5 squared is 25. Okay, you're almost done with those parentheses. Now you have to finish up 32 minus 25, which is 7. And you're left with 6 times 7, which is 42. Again, showing you with the calculator. You can't do brackets in the calculator, you just do sets of parentheses. So I'm going to put 6 at parenthesis, 32 minus another parenthesis, 2 plus 3, close it, square it, so you got to hit the squared button, and then close another parenthesis. If you look up here, I have 2 parentheses facing towards the right. Then I should have 2 parentheses facing towards the left. Okay, you should have the same amount going one way as you do the other. If I hit enter, I get the same answer as 42. Okay, the last one on this page is C. Okay, this is a division problem. You have 2 cubed minus 5 divided by 15 plus 9. When you're doing a division problem, you always want to do the numerator first and then do the denominator, get a number for each, and then divide them. So first we're going to concentrate on the numerator. You have 2 cubed minus 5. So I'm actually just going to use the calculator for this. 2 cubed minus 5, so I'm going to hit 2. Now, in order to get to the third power, or to 2 cubed, next to the x squared button is the caret button. That's this button right here. If you hit that, that will raise it to whatever power you want to. So 2 raised to the third minus 5. Okay? So the numerator is 3. The denominator is 15 plus 9. So 15 plus 9, hit enter. Okay, so your denominator is 24. So you have 3 over 24. So you're going to take 3, divide 24, now that you have both the numerator and the denominator, and you get 0.125. If you want to convert this to a fraction, you're going to hit the F to D button, and so your answer ends up being 1 over 8, or 1/8. Okay. So that was order of operations. Now we're going to evaluate algebraic expressions. It's almost the same thing, except when you evaluate, you're going to take what they told you each variable is, and you're going to plug it in. Anytime you take a number and you're plugging it into an expression, you must always put that number in parentheses. So first, I'm going to substitute 4 in for x, 5 in for y, and 3 in for z. And I'm going to rewrite it with everything substituted in, okay, with parentheses around every number that I plugged in. Now, if we follow the order of operations, you've got, you look at all your parentheses. Again, there's nothing in here that you can do. There's nothing in here that you can do. There's nothing in here that you can do. But there's this big set of parentheses where you can simplify everything in between. So in this bigger set of parentheses, you have a cube. So you're going to do 3 cubed first. 3 cubed is actually 27. So I'm going to rewrite everything. Okay, now replacing 3 cubed with 27. Then you're still inside of this parentheses. 2 times 5 is 10. So rewrite everything with 10. Okay, you're almost done with the parentheses. You can combine 10 plus 27 and get 37. Okay, this parenthesis is now done. There's only one number inside. Then you're going to go to the exponent. 4 squared is 16. Okay, now you're left with multiplication and addition. Multiplication comes first. 3 times 16 is 48 plus 37, and you're left with 85. I'll bring up the calculator and show you how you would plug this in. You're going to plug it in exactly how it's shown in this first step. So you're going to hit 3, parentheses 4, parentheses squared, plus parentheses 2, parentheses 5, close that one, plus parentheses 3, parentheses, then you got to cube it, so raise it to the third, and then end that parenthesis. If you hit enter, you get 85. Okay, this one here. So again, you're substituting in numbers in for the variables. A is 2, B is 6, and C is 4. So first rewrite it with plugging every number in and making sure to put every number in parentheses. It's important because especially if it's a negative number. If you don't put a negative number in parentheses, you're going to get a different answer than you would if you had put it in parentheses. Okay, so this is what it looks like here. I'm actually going to just show you how to plug this in the calculator. Okay, you're going to put parentheses 2 squared, another parentheses, 3, 6, parentheses plus 5, end that parenthesis, and divide by 4. And you got 23. And just in case you didn't have a calculator, order of operations, all the work is done here, and those would be the steps, and you get the same answer, 23. Alright, number 3. So you have to be careful. These straight straight bars right here are actually not parentheses or brackets at all. This is absolute value. Remember, when you take the absolute value of any number, if it's a negative number, it becomes a positive number. If it's a positive number, it stays a positive number. The absolute value of any number is always positive. So what you're going to do first is calculate what 6a minus 2b is when you plug in negative 2 and negative 1. And then you're going to plug in negative 2 for a and negative 1 for b for the second absolute value, and you're going to figure out what that is. So we're actually going to use the calculator and figure out what those two numbers in the absolute values are going to be first. So I'm going to hit 6 parenthesis negative 2, because remember, any number you plug in you need to put parentheses around it, minus 2 parenthesis negative 1. Okay, and if you hit enter, you get negative 10. Okay, that's what I got down here. So that number inside of the absolute value is negative 10. Then we're going to figure out what the other number inside the parentheses is. So I'm going to hit 3 parenthesis negative 1. Oh, nope. Negative 2 plus parenthesis negative 1. Hit enter, and you get negative 7. So the other number inside that absolute value is negative 7. So the absolute value of negative 10 is actually positive 10. The absolute value of negative 7 is a positive 7, because every number is positive, and then you get 10 plus 17, or 10 plus 7 equals 17. And I have all the work shown here step by step for the order of operations if you didn't have a calculator. So I'll uncover that so you could see the steps that go through it. But this is definitely a lot longer of a process. It's a lot easier if you have a calculator to check your answer at least, because the calculator knows your order of operations. Alright, the last problem, number 4. You've got the cubed root of 2x divided by 6 minus x plus 4x. So for a second, forget this plus 4x and just imagine you just had this fraction right here. So remember, when I said when you have a fraction, you always figure out what the numerator is first, then you figure out the denominator, and then divide them. Okay, so x is 4, so I'm going to plug in 4 right here. That's 2 times 4, which is 8. So it's the cubed root of 8. To get the cubed root in your calculator, you are going to hit shift, the left parenthesis, and you see this little cubed root right here. If you hit that, that brings it up, and I'm going to put 8 there. I'm going to hit enter. So that means that the top, this numerator is 2. Then I'm going to plug in 4 in the denominator. So 6 minus 4 is 2. So your numerator is 2 and your denominator is 2. So now that you have the numerator and denominator, now you divide them. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. So this fraction right here is 1. And let's see if I could find that somewhere. There we go. Okay, so 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we're up here. 1 plus 4. Okay, times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So 1 plus 16, which is 17. And I showed all the work again right here without the calculator, so it's step by step so you can see the order of operations. But again, it's a lot easier if you have the calculator.